Joseph for our weekly Tongren session. For people that are new to this is a distance healing technique. So anybody watching, you can sit and relax and actually receive a session yourself, focusing on what you need. If you have a specific request, if you're on Instagram or on Facebook, you can actually put in a request from social media or on my website, anusarwellness.com. So let's get right to it. We work probably 30 to 40 or 50 people every single week. And we're happy to see our healing community every week. So if you're here, say hello, and we will begin. And we will check in with everyone. So, Kind Pal, these are unusual names for generated by AI. Yes, AI is running for president this year, so get ready. So, blood flow to the brain, 3-part process. This is what I teach, actually. I teach people how to do this process. We use this as a tool, kind of like a map of what we need to do so people can understand and have an easy tool, because these are innate tools of all human living beings. So blood flow to the brain. So Georgia Tribe, Helen, Linda, Bruce, Steve, and Brian. Chronic fatigue. Hello, Cardi Girl. Fourth thumb, sore thumb. And I hope you're doing great. You too. Blood flow to the brain. So what we do is a 3-part process for people that aren't familiar. Initialization, just like in the body, blood flow to the brain, where all the command centers are, all the communication links to the rest of the body. And then down the spine, where we find most of our blockages and bioelectricity, or down the front, where we want to enhance the vagus nerve and the vagal tone. Blood flow to the brain. Command points of the brain. Sensory cortex, motor cortex, hypothalamus, pituitary. Let's sit and relax with your feet flat on the floor, palms face up. Breathing through the nose as always. Brain command points of the brain stem. So for Catherine, Esther, Drew, Jay, and hello, Momashari. Chronic fatigue, check your copper levels, because your iron, which works with your oxygen release, is only released with copper. So you may have all the iron in the world, but if you don't have enough copper, there's a good company, globalhealing.com. They have a really good copper supplement. But let's work on blood flow and nerve flow to the spine. Hypothyroid, so C6, C7 thyroid balancing. So it's good to say hello, and hello Heather as well. And TBI for you. C6, C7, T1 for thyroid, calcium balancing, hypo, underactive thyroid. T1 to T8, arthritic knees and hips, anti-inflammation. brachial plexus, and then lumbosacral plexus, and the knees, anti-inflammation, and the source of the knees, so blood flow, T7, nerve flow, lumbosacral plexus, and the knees themselves, the ouch point for arthritic knees. And grounding for the Georgia tribe. Good to hear from you. AKA, this is fun. Yep. So let's continue. So for AFib, I highly recommend the Relaxator. We have a 4-week course teaches you how to use it, but it's really simple. I know different people now that have worked on it for AFib. Also, make sure your electrolytes, your sodium, magnesium, potassium, and calcium are all in balance. So take high mineral dense foods like sea vegetables. Blood flow to the brain. So let's work for Catherine. The eyes right away. And Esther. People like my shirt. This is from one of those ponchos from Mexico. They're great. It's like wearing a blanket. I guess that's probably what it kind of is. When I lived in Arizona, I would go down to Nogales, Mexico, and buy some cool stuff. Blood flow from the heart to the brain, command point, sensory cortex, motor cortex. And Allison will work. Heather, I lived in Patagonia for 3 months. Went to school there for 3 months. Brain command, stem command points. Blood flow, nerve flow to the spine, but also C3 for the eyes. 3 blood flows for the eyes. Yeah, I've been to Tucson. Tucson is great. I lived in Patagonia, very quiet town. They have a healing center there before. I think it's still there. Gabriel Cousins, the Tree of Life. I lived there for 3 months for school. So let's work on blood flow, nerve flow. So things that are hurting, such as thumb, so the brachial plexus of the shoulders, the thumb, bring the chi to the hands, and continue to 1 to T8 for pain, hurting ankle. But let's continue to work a little bit more on the eyes for Catherine. GV17, C3, C4, sky window, blood flow to the eyes, ouch point for the eyes. C1 to C7, and also for the eyes, T9 right side, the liver, Chinese medicine connection to the eyes. T1, 2, 3, 4, 7, 8, anti-inflammation, also for the eyes. And for the pain in the ankle, T7, blood flow and nerve flow. So blood flow, T7, abdominal blood, nerve flow, lumbosacral plexus, and the sciatic nerve, and the femoral nerve. So if you ever use moxa for your thumb, that's one option. If you use castor oil to reduce inflammation, that's another option. In general, turmeric with black pepper as an herb can also help inflammation. And let's work directly on the knee. So bladder 54 from the back and the ouch point on the front. And some more of the ouch point for the eyes. And then the vagus nerve down the torso. Vagal tone. GB12 to CB4. GB12, CV12 for the gut-brain axis. And also oxygen sky window to CV17. So how's everybody doing so far? And grounding is always, just like in martial arts, energy, qigong, always to the earth. Unless you're taking your final trip up. So we've got cool pal, worldly human, gleeful civilian, happy mama. So let's continue. Doing great. Patagonia is beautiful. It was great when I was there. Very quiet, nice place. And 18 miles from Nogales. Nogales is where we went over the border. That's where it was. Nogales. So blood flow to the brain. So when I lived in Arizona, I worked and lived in a rejuvenation center, Tree of Life. I worked also as a trainee chef in their kitchen as well for healthy, healing foods. Blood flow to the brain. So let's work on the brain for Heather, TBI. Out there in Tucson. And for gleeful guest, AFib, aortic valve stenosis, anemia, and lumbar issues, kidney disease, diverticulitis, diverticulosis, and antherolisthesis of L4. Antherolisthesis. I get it. Okay. L4, L5. TBI, so brain command points, TV 1920, 21, 22. Command points of the brain stem, GV17, BL9. But especially for TBI, 3 blood supplies, more blood to the brain, more recovery for the brain. So, sky window both sides. Blood flow number 1. Blood flow number 2, the vertebral artery. And occipital artery. and vertebral artery to the spinal artery to the heart. So again, AFib breathing exercises. Make sure you get plenty of electrolytes. Talk to your doctor about all these things, of course. But T5 for the heart and AFib. And also the hypothalamus and pituitary, hypothalamus in particular, for the management of the bioelectricity of the heart. T1 to T8. So anemia, oftentimes they say it is a low iron, but it's not really low iron, it's a low copper, which makes the iron work. You can have all the iron in the world. If you don't have copper, you won't be doing anything. But let's continue. T1 for the bones, anemia. For blood cell production, think of the bone marrow, as an organ that produces red blood cells, white blood cells, and platelets. Lumbar 1 to 5 for lumbar issues, which also includes the kidney, which is L2. So for diverticulitis, diverticulosis, I would definitely do a good amount of aloe vera juice to start. There's a good brand, I think I listed it above. And any inflammation, glutamine for the gut. And L4, L5 for the enterolithiasis. So Heather will work on TBI again. When I lived in Patagonia, the population was, I think, 1,200. Small town. And grounding. CV4 for the gut. Diverticulosis, diverticulitis, and the kidneys. CV4 right there. The lower dantian just below the belly button. Liver 3 and kidney 1. Yes, hello Tim. Multiple myeloma. We will work on that aggressively for you. So let's work. We work with Catherine, now Esther and curious guest, TBI and multiple myeloma for Janet Orlando. Blood flow to the brain. Focus on 3 blood supplies. Blood flow to the brain. Brain command points. So for TBI, severe brain injury for curious guest. Vanishing thoughts, balance issues. So let's start on GB13. extreme mental fatigue, definitely check your copper levels. I would recommend globalhealing.com. So great. Let's work on command points of the brain, command points of the brain stem. And we'll start to work on inflammation for Esther. Joints of the shoulders and pain. Lumbosacral plexus, brachial plexus, lumbosacral plexus. Also blood flow, T7, bladder area S1 to S5. Adrenals and kidneys, L1, L2. Nerves to the hands, brachial plexus. Nerves to the waist, lumbosacral plexus. I haven't seen it yet. It's probably coming up later, but we'll work on Augustina. And for a few people, balance, GV17, BL9. And grounding down to the feet. Woo! Balance issues, we got that. Comprehensive issues, GB13, left side, right side. Extreme fatigue, definitely. I would try some copper for a couple of months. Nausea, etc. Detoxing, you do have constipation also. Loose teeth, let's work on the jaw. The gums. C3, 4, and 5 for the jaw and gums. And remember, we always have the 15-minute call. People can jump on that to answer your questions. And grounding, also good for mental confusion. Concussions many times. Let's work on the third eye area. Seems the people from Instagram are on strike, except for my friend Momoshari. And grounding down. How's everybody doing? Those teeth, receding gums, T1, 2, 3, 4, 7, 8, C3, 4, and 5, and the ouch point. Great product for memory loss. It's called Brain On by a company called E3 Live. And we won't forget the memory loss, hearing loss as well. And multiple myeloma. Let's work on the multiple myeloma right now for Tim. So blood flow to the brain, part 1. Prime the pump. So we go from the crystal palace, the seat of craniosacral fluid, ventricle number 3, ventricle 1, number 1 and 2 above the ears. So this is to support the bone marrow. From the brain, craniosacral fluid, to T1 to the craniosacral fluid, S1 to S5 for the craniosacral fluid, T1 to T4. And grounding. So, tap to normalize blood calcium, alkaline phosphatase in my blood. Eat sea vegetables. They can be out of alignment, oftentimes caused by medications. Specifically, just check your medications. But let's work on all of that. Calcium balancing. So we worked on multiple myeloma, the bone marrow, bones. Let's do a couple more. T1 for the bones. GB39 for the bones. And we did the craniosacral fluid for the bones. All this for multiple myeloma. And hello, Rachel. So vertebral artery to the spinal artery. Sundance. All right, so C6, C7, T1, calcium balancing. And Tim, we're going to work for your wound healing, osteoarthritis, and vasculitis. And then also Momashari for Andy in just a moment. C6, C7, so pituitary, C6, C7, thyroid, parathyroid, and pituitary for calcium balancing. Vertebral artery to the spinal artery. T1 to T8 for anti-inflammation. vasculitis and osteoarthritis for Tim, and wound healing. So where's the wound, Tim? Let me know that. We'll do the ouch point for it directly. A good thing for wound healing is colloidal silver spray, or what I use as a trick is oregano saline solution. You can use that. So let's do the alk-phos balancing. Let's work on the forest fires of Canada. Tap for the health of all those affected by fires in Canada. Thank you for mentioning that. T1 to T8. And the wound healing. So let's work on the microbiome for everyone. You got T11, T12, L4, L5. Lower leg above, just above calcaneus. Have sylvan algae in bandage pad. Good idea. Left leg above calcaneus. Silver and algae in the bandage pad. A nice poultice. And let's do a grounding. To liver 3 and kidney 1. And Trevia, we didn't forget you. Congestive heart failure and anemia as well. Okay, so let's work with Rachel, Andy, and Tim. Blood flow to the brain, and then Happy Mama. Blood flow to the brain. GV 1920, 21, 22. Hypothalamus, pituitary, sensory cortex, motor cortex. Command point of the brain stem, circulation, brain health, blood pressure, all those good things. Vertebral artery to the spinal artery. So for the breath, pointing the laser at CV17, try that. Just breathe into it. The laser at CV17 will be a good way to open that up. But blood flow, nerve flow, breathing, L2, L3, bronchial areas, lung areas. Lung 1, lung 2 from the front. Chinese medicine points for the lungs. So again, for the heart, CV17, and all the connected areas, CV17 for the heart, T5 for the heart, L2 for the kidneys, T9 for the liver. So let's continue with the breathing for Rachel. L2, T2, 3, and 4. And of course at the same time, GB13 right side for clear mind, T1, T2, C1, C2, GB13 right side. Just heart failure and anemia, check your calcium, copper levels, but I would just suggest to do a couple of rounds of copper or high copper foods. But we'll work on the bones for the anemia. Congestive heart failure and anemia, so T1 for the bones, GB39 for the bones, and again for the breathing, T2, T3, T4, CV17 for the breathing, clear mind, in tongue, third eye area, GB13 right side for the clear mind as well. So T1 to T12. And hello, Esther. We'll work on that some more. We'll work with Bella the cat. And next we have Happy Mama. One classy Catherine. But let's work with Momoshari for all of your requests. First, healthy blood. So let's do blood flow to the brain. Healthy blood, CV17, and the spleen, T7. Blood, immune system production, bone marrow, CV20 for growth hormone, T1 for the bones and bone marrow. There you go. I'm going to do some more CV17 for Rachel for the breathing, and we'll focus on that when we do the Qigong today, as well as healthy blood. And let's do for everyone healthy blood, lymph, and craniosacral system. Crystal Palace. hypothalamus, pituitary, pineal gland, pituitary, and hypothalamus. Bones and bone marrow for the lymph, any leukemias or any myelomas. T1 for the bones, sacrum 1 to 5 for the bones, and tailbone 1 to 4 for the bones, bone marrow. Tailbone adjustment, always consider that in any bone marrow issues. Hannah Kroger from Europe cured 5,000 kids of leukemia by doing a tailbone adjustment. That's also for the anemia. So next we're going to work with Happy Mama again. Strong immune system, T1 to T8. And then hormone balancing for Happy Mama and Laura. So let's do that. Happy hormones come from the gut. So GV20, 22, hypothalamus, pituitary. T11, T12, L4, L5. That's where most of our happy hormones are made, in the gut. And also for Andy, prostate to bone, T1 to T8. Look into the product called DIM, D-I-M. Helps to manage the aromatase inhibitor process. T1 for the bones, for the fractured femur, and then the nerve flow to the femur. And leg down the front and the back. And the Calm Mind, GB13 for everyone. But for the prostate, L3. There are good herbs from a company called Crystal Star. Sometimes the PSA does not improve if there's medications involved, if there are medications involved. And we'll do some more for the gut for Laura, T11, T12, L4, L5. So how's everybody doing? Prostate to bone, fractured left femur, hip has removed, so let's focus on the hip, continue that good work. For Andy, hip to hip, also good for constipation. T11, T12, L4, L5, S1, S2. Hip to hip, improve that hip some more. L3 for the prostate, and then L4, L5, S1, S2 for the nerves. Okay. And it's always grounding. And cardio, your thumb feels better. Good. With more chi. Put your mind where your thumb is, and it will actually increase circulation. And put your hands over it. You can bring your energy like this to your thumb or to your toes. Bring the energy and chi to your thumb, but it's already feeling better, which is great. Thumbs up. Blood flow to the brain. Something just came to mind for breathing. Nicotine. Brain receptors. For oxygen. No, receptors for nicotine in the brain blocked by COVID or COVID vaccination or shedding. Okay, so blood flow to the brain. So we're doing good. Next is Bella the cat. So let's work on the ouch point of the nose. Bleeding maybe from the air quality. But let's work on the eyes, ears, nose, and throat departments, C3, 4, and 5. For Bella the cat. Then we're going to work on the ouch point just above the calcaneus. So let's work with Esther and Bella. And you've started the copper. I suggested, let me know how that goes. That should help. There are entire books, if you look up on Amazon, entire books written on copper. See if I got mine here. Nope, it's buried. See if I get it. It's a whole book. It's called The Copper Cure. Check it out. Copper, ceraplasmin, different things that manage iron. So blood flow to the brain. Brain command points. So we'll work some more for Esther. Vertebral artery to the spinal artery. Underactive hypothyroid. Definitely check your drinking water if it has fluoride in it. That can disrupt it, and then eat sea vegetables to counteract the thyroid and iodine potential issues. And eat seaweed. Everybody, I recommend to eat seaweed. And gleeful civilian, we won't forget you. So C3, 4, and 5 again for Bella the cat. Bleeding from the nose. T1 for the bones and platelets. Platelets, I should say. T1 to T8, osteoarthritis. And for Esther, T7 blood flow and nerve flow, lumbosacral plexus. And the bladder, S1 to S5. You're welcome very much. Doing great, Momashari, great. And we'll continue with Esther, and then emotional trauma, underactive thyroid. So blood flow to the brain, and GB13 for emotional trauma. The issues are in the tissue, as they say. And we'll tap for my sister in the hospital surgery. And Len Avis. Leonard, good to see you. GB13. C1, C2, GB13 for emotional trauma. Vertebral artery, spinal artery, C6, C7, thyroid, parathyroid management. Surgical procedure, torn meniscus, so T7, blood flow and nerve flow, so that would be T7, and lumbosacral plexus for the nerve flow. You're welcome, Leonard, good to see you. Hope you're doing great. So let's work on the ouch point for the meniscus, right around the knee. Let's just work the whole knee area. And the right knee, front and back. So the ouch point, and then bladder 54 for the back. So now I know where your email address comes from, Avis Fu. Cool. So let's work for Augustina and Faris. Blood flow to the brain. She's good, no changes. Hopefully she's getting over her what sound like panic attacks. Blood flow to the brain. GB13. Three blood supplies for the brain stem. Vertebral artery, spinal artery, actually the carotid artery, vertebral artery, and the occipital artery and the brain stem directly. And Augustina, some more blood flow to the brain, occipital blood flow, GV17, the brain stem directly. Everything smells. Oh, you're in Canada, some of you. So the skies must be pretty tough for you to see because it's affecting. I saw pictures of New York. It is in a cloud of smoke. Blood flow to the brain and the eyes. Better circulation in the head and grounding. GV17, ouch point for the eyes, Ferris and Ferris. C3 for the eyes and GV17 circulation in the head. GV17, the medulla, and lots of grounding. Discomfort in and around the eyes, so let's do blood flow and the ouch point. T1 to T8 for inflammation. And for everyone, a detox. Also good for the eyes. T4 for the skin. Lumbosacral plexus. The microbiome for everyone. And scalp psoriasis for Tim also. So detox T4, T7, L2, T9. Complete detox, including the lung, which is C3, T3, and sinuses, special point, GV24, and again C3. So what do you use? I'm sure, Tim, based on what I've seen, you can massage in castor oil or coconut oil, or take bitter herbs for the liver. T1 to T12, C3 for sinuses and sinus infections. Who is the author of the Copper Cure book? If you hang on, when we're done, I'll look for my copy or I'll Google it real quick. I know which one it is. It's a brilliant book. Let's see if I have it real close. I don't see it. Copper Cure. I don't see it immediately. Oh, there it is. I have the book. Yes. I got about 100 books right here on the right side of my feet. There it is. Morley Robbins. Did you get it? Let me know. Cure, Copper Cure. Everybody should read it. Marie, you're welcome very much. So we got about another minute. And we will finish up. For those that are interested, there's still a replay for the 5 tips to prevent cancer webinar I did, about 40 minutes of a lecture and about 45 minutes of good Q&A. If people are interested, let me know. I can send them a link. Last round, blood flow to the brain and brain command points from Maria, for Augustina rather, and Maria as well. Command points to the brain stem. And hello, Catherine. I don't know if people have heard of the famous French baseball player, Joe Formaggio. No? And the sternum, we don't want to miss anyone. Cool pal, sternum pain, not sure what that is, but that is the heart chakra. So open up your heart. Even just exercising like this is a good way to do it. Lung 1, lung 2, again for Rachel, CV17 for Rachel, sternum pain for Cool Pal, detoxing lung and sinuses, so T4, T7, T9, L2, and detoxing and then grounding as you were requested. Liver 3 and kidney 1 and 1 classy Katerina. Good to see you as well. So focus on the PSA, blockage L3, needling L3, yoga exercises, upward dog, downward dog, DIM, and broccoli sprouts, and a company called Crystal Star Prostate Support. So everybody focus on the sternum. There's a lot of things going on with sternum. With every breath, increase. And the lower down and charge the battery for everyone. T4, we did the scalp, psoriasis, and the liver. Keep up the good work, everyone. We are powerful by our community, our strength of our group. Continue to support. So you got the Copper Cure book? Great book. Have a good night, everyone. Be kind to one another. Blessings. Continue to support our healing community. Look forward to seeing you next week. And enjoy the day. During these challenging times, think of them as opportunities as much as possible. And I support all of you. Thanks very much and have a great day.